Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of our TcgScrubs podcast. This time with one less Oscar and one more Jeremy, or DM073, here with us today.
I have gloves, but I'm not wearing them. They're uncomfortable. So, they're here. They're real.
They'll forgive you for now.
If this video gets 10,000 hits, I'll burn them. I won't actually do it. Don't.
No, he will. Give us 10,000 hits. I'll buy you new ones.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so we're here with Joey, obviously, as well.
Hey there, guys.
And Oscar's being dumb and working, so he's not joining us. But yeah, so lots of stuff we're going to be going over this. We're recording this before pre-release, but you know, there's plenty of stuff to talk about card related that'll be cool to go over. We have a ruler of the week that I think they had mentioned last time. I wasn't on the last podcast, so I heard they made fun of me and stuff, so that's cool.
Yes, we did.
But we'll quick jump in. Jeremy and I were just actually talking about the picture that was posted in After Dark, I believe. It was the Spanish group of the starter deck rulers, where it had their sealed abilities unlocked, but they were their old starter deck art, and they weren't textured. We're not sure if they're foiled because it only showed the ruler side, but they're for sure not textured, and it was interesting. And so we're trying to figure out what was going on with that. And you're about to say what you thought it was?
Yeah. So like, the question becomes whether or not it replaces the like structure deck like Ubers, right? So like, in the first set, we could get Kirik and Shayla unsealed Ubers and the rulers. So the question becomes, instead of Ubers for these next couple sets, can we get of the structure deck stuff? Do we get original artwork unsealed rulers? I doubt that, mainly because that picture from the Spanish stuff had two of them. Like Ted Tigris and Gil, so it's like, man, you must have either cracked a ton of packs or they're like super easy to get. So it could also be something like maybe they're the chase cards, the one per box. Which I could also see, because then it's like, cool, you get one per box, so everybody gets quick access to them. But then if you get lucky, you might get one of the alternate artworks, right? So it makes the alternate artwork a little bit like fancier and harder to pull, but also gives everyone access to that unsealed stuff. And so the way they're doing pre-release kits now, I think it's like actual, at least overseas, is actual boxes in the pre-release kits. So then that would kind of make sense. Like someone opened a pre-release kit and the two boxes had one chase card each, so they got Gil and Tigris.
Right.
It's just my guess.
And it would break. I was talking to Oscar about this, actually, because he was thinking it was chase cards as well. And it would be interesting because it'd be the first ones that we had that aren't textured, because they've always been textured or textured full arts of some sort. And they're full art, but they, at least I mean, obviously it'd be both sides probably, but it's not textured.
Are the band and...
Yes.
I don't think the band... Are they textured?
Yeah, Oscar asked that too. I think it's because of the coloring, the light coloring. It was harder to tell, but they are. We double checked on Google Images just to be sure. Yeah, but I think it was because of because only the person was textured. Their background with the yellow and all that was not, which was really weird looking. But yeah, it kind of threw me off. But
okay, that makes sense.
The thought I had, besides that, which I thought would be a really cool move on Force of Will's part, I doubt it is, but is if it's something they had sent to stores so that when someone buys a starter deck now, they give that to them as well. So now that they have the unsealed abilities as well, so they don't have to worry about any weird rules, themes, and stuff like that.
And that would also make sense with the fact that they're not textured.
Yeah,
that it's like, hey,
method.
Thanks for buying this structure deck.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're being distributed with new structure deck orders now.
That would be super
Which
cool.
means it's going to be a nightmare in the United States, but...
They'll figure it out. at some point.
Or they totally won't. But
do you have any thoughts on that, Joey?
I haven't really gotten a look at them. I think it's just interesting the way they're doing. They're releasing like these sealed abilities. Like I don't know. There's gonna be so even with this new set, Rhea still has like another sealed ability. So like there's gonna be 3 versions of her. One with like no sealed abilities, one with a ruler sealed ability, and one with a J ruler sealed ability. And that's just pretty ridiculous to me. So I don't know how that ruling is gonna be. But yeah,
they are backwards compatible.
Okay.
So they work like an errata.
Yeah.
In the sense that once a new one gets published, the old ones get those abilities. Like you don't have to like get the new one to be able to use the sealed.
Yeah.
But that just means like tournament organizers have to be on top of things, and players need to be on top of things too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I always thought it was a bit weird to, you know, if you are playing someone new and trying to explain to them, no, listen, this weird jumbo gibberish on this means that I get 3 extra mystery counters. It's like,
right? Yeah, it's yeah, that is a little weird, but it'll work out if it works out.
You were saying it's and it's lore based. You said essentially.
Yeah. So what it appears to be, at least from what we can gather, right? So I love the lore of this game. So at this point in time in the story, Tigris, Gil, Kirik, just about to meet up with Shayla, and they're all headed to Rhea's castle, right? So something's about to go down there, and then at another Demon King, the Dark Elves try to get crazy and bring out Welser, who becomes the kind of new big bad guy. But during that time, Shayla's going back to the water people because Shayla got hurt, from what we know of the artwork. We don't know. Rhea presumably is still alive and is not a huge fan of Welser, but she's like awakened somehow, so that's why we get her first sight ability, because the Crimson Moon comes into play, which is throwback, or throw forward. And then we don't know what happens to Kirik. And then Gil and Tigris are going to the floating kingdom, which is where all the like white dragonoids and green dragonoids are. And then Kirik's going there to research the ultra magic stone, and Tigris is helping him get there, and because Tigris has like a challenge that he's supposed to undergo, so like. Tigris goes through these challenges, Ra's challenges, because we've seen Ra, and we've seen the flavor text. And so presumably by finishing those challenges and proving he's worthy, he gets to use this super awesome gem, which is his sealed item,
right.
the rainbow jewel. Ooh. And then Gil, through doing his research with the Dragonoids with the Ultra Magic Stone, awakens the Ultra Magic Stone, and now Gil has his sealed ability open and usable. So again, it's like our rulers are actually, the cards we're using are actually becoming a part of the story, more intertwined, and are kind of like progressing as the story's progressing, which is insanely unique for like any card game. I mean, Legends of the Five Rings does like how tournaments go affects the story within the game way back in the day. Wow. But like this is a direct like the story happening makes our cards new. Like that just hasn't been done, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
The I basically just kind of look at some of the art and and kind of try and puzzle out the lore, because I don't really follow it too much or anything, but it's it's really interesting, like how like deeply involved they are with each other and stuff. Like when Feathsing died, it I didn't even notice until you see the card art.
Yeah,
that was
pretty.
It's
awesome. Yeah.
It hurts me, but it's still like I think it's really cool that Force of Will like we get that same kind of, I think, rush and entertainment, at least for me, that comes out of like card games and stuff that have had like TV shows, but I get it through like lore articles and like reading the flavor text and stuff like that, which is pretty similar actually a little bit to what Magic does. Like they have written lore and then like the flavor text is important, but like this is just taking it one step further, and I think that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I do like that. I like when themes reward people who follow it like the closest and stuff like that, and it doesn't, like, if you're not reading the lore, it doesn't affect you. Like you get to have abilities unlocked as you go along, type of thing, which is pretty interesting. But it's just an extra nice thing for people who are really into the game, and rewards them for spending the time reading the lore and all that.
Yep, it's pretty cool.
Which a real quick note in case that brings up anyone commenting, we are still working on the lore videos. We got new mics and stuff, so Oscar's the one heading it all up, and he decided since we got new mics, he wanted to re-record everything from scratch to make it nicer quality. So we're working on that now, and we're also readjusting some of the stuff. I think you're wanting to do some stuff with it as well, some more stuff with it. So we'll.
I know that at this point, I'm one character in it, and I won't say who, because I want to kind of like, it's your project. But I know that Oscar and I were talking about maybe doing a different voice or two as well. But again, if it's not obvious, I really enjoy doing lore stuff for this game, so call me in whenever.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I just upgrade my computer, so now I can actually handle some of the things I had wanted to do for the lore. My computer just couldn't physically handle some of the stuff I wanted to do, and so
that's awesome.
Excited for that. So we're somewhat talking about this set right now. So what is everyone's thoughts on the advent of the Demon King now that all the cards have been spoiled? When this comes out, everyone would have played pre-release and stuff, but like how it compares to the first Ancient Knights of this cluster, and how it compares to previous clusters. Do you think it's a good moving forward, or whatever?
I will vote to go last on this one.
Joey?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'll start. I thought what Force Will did with their like the draftability of last set was really, really good. It's, I actually never gotten to draft either of these. I won't be going to pre-release next weekend, which is kind of sad. And I actually haven't drafted the last set either. But from what it seemed to me, and like a lot of the cards, it seems like it would be a really fun set to draft. And I think it's cool that Force Will is like, they are looking more towards like the draftability of sets and stuff like that. So I mean, I think this one is also very interesting. I think there's a couple of misses that that Force will have still, because like there are no ways to like generate mystery counters, but there are mystery counter based cards in this set. Besides making your ruler darkness, but so I still think we have some slight kinks to work out. But I really like the draftability of the like the sets and how they're kind of trying to, I feel like I'd be really interested to like play this, like draft it. But as far as like balance goes, I think there's a couple of things that they release that are troubling, especially a lot of people are looking at green, and so I'm not a big fan of like how balance between balance this new set is seems like it's skewing it way towards green, but I think and I don't know how I feel about restricting rulers, because we're only getting I think two new rulers in this set.
Yeah, 2 new ones. Yeah,
and so like I enjoyed getting new rulers every set, because you get to do different things, but so I wish we had more rulers released during each set, and more stuff to play around. But that's kind of like my first thoughts.
Yeah, it's interesting. This set specifically, I was trying to formulate this in my head, like, because one thing I really liked on Ancient Knights was it seemed like they were moving in the direction of the overall power level drop significantly especially for individual cards, but cards as a whole put together inside of a deck seemed to carry a lot of weight and power was where they're heading towards. And it looks like they're continuing that, which is really cool. A lot of more support cards, like Pandas, got a crap ton more support, which is awesome. I like that I can pick a ruler that I really like, and I don't have to worry about just either playing the exact same deck the entire for forever like I have been with Soul. Even though I really like Soul, I haven't had an opportunity to change the deck up much. With Pandas, it's constantly evolving and stuff, so I really like that it's continued. Overall, I like the set a lot. I agree with Joey. I think there's I can't remember them exactly, but I know there's like 2 or 3 cards that really, especially in this set specifically, felt out of place with how strong they are, because the overall power level is down here, and if the old set power level was like in the middle ground above that, and then we have cards that are even above that, how the old clusters used to be. So if it was in the old cluster, it might not have felt so out of place, but in this cluster, just the power levels seem really weird with those couple cards. But overall, I really like most of the cards. Are really exciting with a lot of possibilities to do. So I'm pretty excited for this set. Probably not as excited as I was with Ancient Knights, but still pretty excited.
Yeah, so I get to be the inverse of both of you, I guess in a sense. I am so hyped for this set, just in general. Having done drafting at Worlds and leading up to Worlds and stuff like that, actual drafting, not sealed play. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree that the sets feel like draft sets. They definitely, you crack a pack and sometimes you'll get a bomb and sometimes you won't. And the packs are designed really well to follow the bread formula of drafting. Not every pack is going to have a bomb in it. Not every bomb is going to be what you think it's going to be. You're going to want to pull a vanilla and it's going to be okay. There are decent vanillas in there. There are cards that aren't necessarily satisfactory, but much better in draft than they are in other things. The balance in that format, that entity, definitely feels like it's there. I really like the fact, being a 5 ruler set, I actually really like for draft, because it gives more complete support for the cards in the set in a draft format. The draft rulers are fine, don't get me wrong, but they're not designed. They weren't really designed for a point of having true synergy with the cards. It was just kind of oh, well, you need a power switch, I guess. You know what I mean? You have to have a ruler, so I guess you're using this one. Whereas being a 5 ruler set, I think, and so as such, our packs didn't have rulers nearly as much, or the rulers, if you pulled one in a draft, were well, I've been drafting red-black, and I packed fairer. I've been drafting red-black, and I packed fairer. Okay. I mean, I'm going to draft it so no one else gets it, but this is garbage. But, having all 5 colors of rulers represented in the packs, I think is going to be nice for draft, because I think you have kind of, more of an opportunity to maybe make something work. Because, there were definitely some draft pods where I was sometimes playing draft, I was man, my deck is nothing but green-white. And then I got Freyla. And I was oh, this is garbage. But with the way it is now, having all 5 rulers, you'd be well, I've got 6 or 7 Panda cards, and you might not have been thinking about white in your drafting, but you maybe grabbed them, and then you pack a Tigris, and you're oh, sweet, well, I've got some synergy now. Or you were really heavy blue-white, and then you packed IU. Not that you're ever going to draft IU, because doing a draft singleton deck seems real bad. But there's just, I think, more almost kind of like more fun that can come out of drafting when you have 5 draftable rulers like in the packs. I think it kind of encourages you to like just be goofy at some points, which is, I'm all about it. In terms of overall style, I think that the power level is still about where I want it to be, and I really like the way they're supporting old archetypes. I could talk for probably half an hour about Spider's Web, but we're not going to go there. Overall, I thought that every color got a really nice boost, and I know that people are really freaking out about green getting everything. You get it. Otherworld Dreams is a card. These other things are, like, that's fine. But I also really like the fact that green's other stuff that it got has nothing to do with green decks that we've been playing up to this point. Like, there's so much elemental stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, it makes up a majority of the set. Even the Dragonoids in green are designed for elemental decks. Like, and so for me, I'm like, yes, it got Otherworld Dreams. Cool. The tower is probably not going to see play outside of sideboards, so that's a kind of a meh. Gil got like the other green support outside of Otherworld Dreams, I think just makes Gil playable, which is like yay. Just like the white support outside of the really good tech cards gave TcgScrubs support, which is what we wanted, and the black cards outside of the really good like overall cards gave Rhea really good support. So like, I think I'm okay with trading off 1 or 2 strong cards that are like overarching for the fact that the rest of the cards in the set pumped in those colors really gave support to 3 other rulers. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like I kind of agree that like I really like that they're pumping so much support into these like into elementals and pandas and like especially because like I like a lot of the elemental stuff looked really interesting, like really fun to play, because like I think you know before like Gil was probably not that playable, but you know along with his steel ability and some of the new like elemental stuff, you know he definitely has a lot of good cards. One thing that I am not sure I like about it is that it seems like I kind of sometimes when I'm building stuff I feel like I'm a little bit pigeonholed. Like if I want to build pandas, or like if I want to build like a white deck, the like somewhere like 70-80% of the support in these last 2 sets are all pandas. So like or gems. But like, you know, if I don't want to play that, you know, if I want to play like Dragonoids, there's, you know, or kind of how Colin was saying, how there's no soul support. There's been no soul support, and there won't be any soul support like moving on. I wouldn't think. And so like if you're playing a soul deck, you like that was all in Lapis Cluster. Like you're not going to get any new cards for soul in Rhea Cluster. So I feel a little bit that we're pigeonholed into these sets, which I think is nice for like, you know, for like limited and draft and stuff, and like making stuff from this set, because like pandas, they're gonna continue to have like gem support and pandas in the next, you know, couple sets too. But I feel like it leaves the last like Lapis Cluster set behind a little bit on some of those cool rulers.
And I think there's part of that that's intentional, in the sake of I still very much think that this game is kind of like Colin said, we're like weeding down the power, and so by kind of like shifting to this more archetypal style, it gives them a very easy way to kind of like drop off the last leg. But I definitely understand that like you can get pigeonholed very easily in certain styles of deck, especially. It feels very much like, geez, what am I thinking of? Where like you have to keep moving forward, like you can't you can't like live in the past with decks anymore like we could, I guess. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I feel like
so like
moving.
Go ahead.
Or I was gonna say, I feel like moving forward, like we won't have that problem. It almost feels like this Rhea cluster is them doing like almost. I don't know if this is the right word, but almost like a soft reboot of the game where they're like, we understand the power levels got out of control. So rather than like supporting rulers that they don't want to support anymore, that they want to sort of just rotate out and not worry about, they're just like focusing like there's a couple cards here and there that are help with it, like they had a random treasure item and stuff like that. But like overall, it's just like they're focusing on Rhea cluster with the intent of moving forward. The Rhea cluster is their new starting point in their head of like, this is where we want the game to be from this point on. So if they kept supporting Lapis cluster, that would hinder their motive of doing that.
Because they'd still be looking back, and I think they're building sets in a way that they're acknowledging the back, but their focus is forward, and they're building a set almost in a way to shift the mindset of the player base in that direction. Like,
right. Well,
almost like the lore. How the lore is like a soft reboot almost.
I thought Colin said something interesting on like it's almost like they're trying to like rotate the last set early a little bit with like, we're gonna stop printing like support and cards like almost entirely from those like other past rulers and stuff, and only focus on building up like these couple like these new rulers and these new pandas and that stuff. So in a way it does kind of feel like they're trying to rotate like early than like the whole set, with just not giving any support to the last set.
Right, because it's almost like if you wanna live in the past and you want to play those decks, that's fine. You still can technically do so, but people who are playing the newer stuff have access to much newer cards and a much wider card pool than you do, because they have received more sets worth of support, and you have been stuck with your original core.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say that some of those decks aren't still really good. Cough, cough, Fox. Cough, cough, Persia. But have you seen really, like, even considering if a ban list doesn't come to the United States, and I'm not going to get in the ban list discussion, but have you really seen much in these, especially in this set, where you're like, oh yeah, this is a Fox card, or oh yeah, this is a Persia card. Like, they don't exist. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to play Persia and Fox, and the ban list doesn't happen, you are still more than welcome to do so. However, you are getting nothing out of the new sets. Like, there's nothing for you. And in fact, there's a lot of stuff against you, but we'll get to that.
I agree.
Yeah, no, and I mean, the only problem one was Fox, because it felt like it really didn't need much support. And it passively could absorb a lot of cards that weren't meant for it, but it could tool to work for it. But I've been really happy to see that after the ban that's mellowed out. But I've been really excited about seeing like this week's ARG and stuff like that. I haven't looked forward to seeing top 8s and stuff like that in a long time, so I'm pretty excited.
Lunya, Darktree, Farer, Alhamat, Lumia. Gonna see.
Lumia I thought was gonna have a bigger presence, so I'm thinking we'll see some more Lumia this time around, now that people have had time to think about it.
And by the time they're hearing this, we'll have seen the results.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that was crazy how Soul took the whole thing.
No, Farrah's gonna.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. Somebody brought a Shayla list. That Shayla list was spice.
I've heard some stuff about Shayla. Yeah.
Someone hacked into the company and got the Thunderstorm sealed item, and they just train wrecked everyone.
So I don't know if I'd ask this to you guys specifically ahead of time, but do any cards pop out to you guys as like sort of like, oh, this is not necessarily the strongest card, but like your personal favorite card from the set?
We're gonna get to my favorite card from the set when we talk about our Ruler of the Week.
Oh, interesting.
That's not true. That's not true. I lied. My favorite card in this set is Spider's Web. Everybody I know knows that I will go on forever about Spider's Web. I'm a huge Vampires fan. I have been for a while, pretty much since Mikage came out and like the sisters. I'm a huge fan of Rinka. if there's a deck that plays Rinka, I'll play it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I think Spider's Web with Rinka is absolutely insane.
Rinka's the second
2-drop
daughter, right?
6/6.
Yeah.
That gains a counter whenever it deals damage and can get precision and free flying.
I see.
I love that card with Spider's Web so much because I'm already playing Charlotte's Water Transformation Magic to make Rinka be able to kill things very easily. And here's why Spider's Web is better. One, I can force my opponent to attack, which is great. Two, it targets Jade Rulers, which is also great. And three, it lets Rinka trade up into so many things. Like, because one mystery counter, and it's -6, -3, and I force you to attack.
Yeah.
And so, like, instead of playing 2 Charlotte's Water Transformation Magics, I'm going to play 4 Spider's Web, and I'm going to feel great about it. And also the fact that Spider's Web lets me bring back a Rinka from my graveyard to my hand if I need to. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that is pretty awesome.
I don't my favorite card.
I don't really dabble in dark decks, so I'll watch everyone use that. It is.
I'm a big fan of, and this isn't really like a card per se, but it's Gil's Awakening ability, because I think being able to like flip and have access to like 1 mana cancels and vanish, and then also like I don't know, you know, I really like the idea of like vanish, add 1 mana, and then like Otherworld Dreams at also 1 mana, and then Fair's Spell, and just like a total like
control package.
Yeah, and then
yeah.
Gil himself has like barrier, and I don't know. There's just it looks really interesting. It also makes like Ultra Awakening like possibly playable.
You play it as a 1-of in every guild deck. There's no reason not to.
And then because I already kind of liked the way it seemed like Gil could just start completely like just searching through his deck at like kind of incredible speeds, especially because
speed.
Yeah, like he like his ruler side basically with the sealed item like mills himself out, which like fuels your graveyard, and then you can use that to just start casting and comboing off stuff. His flip side gives you more will to play with, and when you do, you know, you can use your sealed item to just search out chance, and you know
any chant.
Yeah.
And so here's the cute thing, and this is why I say that every guild deck plays an Ultra Awakening as a 1-of. Regardless, it's a spirit magic and it's an elemental. So that's point 1. And the other thing is his search ability lets you search for the cards that you put back in the deck, because you put them back into deck as cost and then search the deck. Yeah. So Ultra Awakening, if you mill it early, you're like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
and then awesome. You can banish, and then you banish it for will, and then later when you actually want to cast it, you go, well, shuffle it back into the deck with one other thing, and put it in my hand and cast it and kill you.
Yeah.
Like, every guild deck plays Ultra Awakening as a 1-of. I don't think there's a reason not to. This card's insane.
Yep.
I don't think mine will be too surprising to most people, but my favorite one is Rose Quartz, the Panda Queen.
Yeah.
Cool. Pandas. It's there's a lot of Pandas support in this set. I'm super excited for it. Like, I'm super excited.
Good Panda support.
But Rose Quartz, I chose her. She's a 5-cost 1,000, which just, and let's assume that's all she is. You pay 5, she's 1,000, and when she enters the field, Pandas I control gain 400 till end of turn, and at the end of the turn I get to recover all my Pandas. So all I have to do is play her. All I need is to figure out some way, maybe outside of Fairy Tale Library, to give stuff swiftness, but maybe I have to use Fairy Tale Library. But point is, she's super good, but on top of that, I get to pay 1 less for her for every Panda I control. So if I do my Shin combo where I pull out a Shin, pull out a Shin, pull out the I forget the name now, the Wind 1, and then play another Wind 1 from hand or some sort of combo, and if I have stuff on the field, potentially she's a 0 cost that buffs everything. And now with Tigris's new unlocked ability, she's also given me an extra gem on top of all the other gems I'm getting with it, and it's just like...
Yeah, I also like the fact that Tigris is a panda, so like if you play her in a Tigris deck, she's a 4-drop.
That's true. I keep forgetting about that. I'm gonna... My panda's up... I'm gonna start playing.
You got a buff, man. Panda's got a serious buff.
As far as pandas go, and I don't know if I'll ever play pandas, but I love Diver Panda.
Oh man, Diver Panda's insane.
I just want to play him, but then it's like, well, he just dies to Tamas. But oh my god.
But in sealed though,
yeah. Oh,
because set release and sealed, you get to pick whatever ruler you want.
Yeah.
So you can just like play Tigris.
Yeah.
And like
Diver Panda is has a crazy tempo. Like, oh my gosh, he's nasty.
I'm very excited about that.
I also really like the Misty Dragon Spirit. Just seems
cool.
Yeah.
Straight up replacement for Charlotte, the wielder of the Sacred Spirit.
Yeah.
So, not playing that card anymore.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
That's all. Yeah, no. So we'll go ahead and move into our ruler of the week on that
ruler of the week.
So in case you guys missed it, our ruler of the week this year is 0. I guess it technically could be this year. We have like only a month left, but
spend 3 months. Catch you in 3 weeks when we're going to talk about 0 again.
Right. 0 will always have a special place. So
there's this deck Zero Bomb or something.
I heard someone use that and won first and won't shut up about it. It's been like a year.
Nah, man. Zero stealth's where it's at.
Oh man.
Rip stealth. I miss stealth.
Oh yeah.
I don't miss stealth. I do as a player. I don't as a game designer. Like.
Oh
stealth.
yeah.
Stealth is busted. Yeah. But anyway, 0.
And we'll do a little bit different this time around. We're not only going to do our main supporting card or cards that we think should go in it, but also the overall like deck type or deck design. Since 0 is such a versatile card, you can do like quite a bit with it actually, as noted by Joey's 0 bomb deck. We'll what my thing. Are you ready, Joey, or did you? I don't know if you.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm ready.
We'll start with you, and then we'll go to Jeremy.
Wait, are you starting with me?
Yeah, I said you, then we'll go to Jeremy.
Okay, so I wasn't really that ready, but as far as
you don't have to go first.
No,
I am ready. I can go if you need me to.
No. I found my card. When you said you wanted a deck archetype, I was like, oh, I don't know if I have that either. So I've been like thinking about bringing back some kind of 0 bomb variant with like a way more like control factor, but I don't know if it would fly at all. But it would probably just be like a regular, just get 0 out and start like swinging in, and you don't have to like try and one-shot him or anything. But as far as the card that I think is really good support in it, there's a lot of like pretty obvious ones like Magic Lights and her Familiar, but I really like Glorious the Silver Knight in a 0 deck, mainly because I like the ability to deal with J rulers. There haven't been a lot of like J ruler hate in my opinion, and like some since we lost Black Moonbeam. I think Glorious is like a really good replacement for that. I love that he's quick cast and he comes down and can block and destroy, like get like a possible twofer. But So I'm just a big fan of Glorious.
I agree. I really like Glorious.
I think Glorious is a good card.
I like Glorious even when everyone hated Glorious.
Hey man, watch Glorious kill a bunch of stuff.
So what do you got, Jeremy?
So the deck archetype that I wanted to look at, and I specifically tried to kind of focus on cards from Advent of the Demon King that I think support it really nicely, is Death and Taxes.
Okay, nice.
So if I wasn't playing Zero Stealth, I was definitely playing Zero Death and Taxes. I really enjoy playing Zero as a control lockdown style ruler, and I think that she makes excellent use of cards like Kaguya's Moonbeam Butterfly. I think she's probably, in my opinion, one of the best rulers naturally that fits into a Kaguya's Moonbeam deck. And so with that, you get a lot of versatility. And so the cards that I kind of picked from the new set specifically are the Floating Isle. Because... So I picked the Floating Isle, Ra, the Golden Bird, and then you could pick Otherworld Dreams, but I'm not going to talk about Otherworld Dreams. I mainly would use Otherworld Dreams like in conjunction with the already established lock, but I'll get there. So Floating Isle I think is nuts for Death and Taxes, in the sense that if you could Kaguya's Moonbeam Butterfly this thing out, then I think that it really puts a damper, like almost kind of like slows the play down significantly for your opponent, so where Death and Taxes just gets all the time in the world to then play it and toy you, kill you to death. Like just toy with you as much as they want. Mainly because Death and Taxes is usually playing one card a turn anyway. Mm-hmm. So then Death and Taxes just goes, okay, now you're playing my game, and I'm better at my game than you are. Yeah. Like, by just using, slamming one card that your opponent can't answer, like, throwing in Guardian of Altean Law, throwing in another Kaguya's Moonbeam Butterfly into, like, Zero Circle of Protection, into, it lets Death and Taxes find its combo pieces at its own pace and not feel like it has to rush. Because I think that's something that Death and Taxes can struggle with a little bit, is where it's like, I need to find my combo pieces right away. Whereas if you land a Floating Isle successfully, you're like, so we're slowing down here.
Yeah, and there's I mean, I don't know how if it'll become more common, but there's not a lot of addition hate at all out there right now.
Grim is a card, the 2-drop Grim. But I think that's a deck that that doesn't see play in anything outside of Darktree, just because white doesn't see play anything outside of Darktree. So I think that Death and Taxes usually likes to go on the draw. I think a lot of the time. That might be wrong, but back in the day when I played it, I enjoyed going on the draw. So the idea of going my turn 2 Floating Isle. Just be like, whoop. Yeah. Okay. Have fun.
Yeah, I tried to make I have been I tried to make a Wukong Death and Taxes deck that I played against Colin.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Well, I won. So
good job. Proud of you.
That's why I'm in the quarterfinals right now.
Hey! Oh, you're playing it in my tournament? Oh man, I gotta watch that. Sweet.
But, yeah.
I just I've always been a fan of just saying no, right? And I think that Floating Isle for Death and Taxes specifically just lets you get to say no. It's just one more piece of the lock that you're just this is really satisfying.
It also really enables cancels and stuff too, because
right.
It's just so easy to just cancel and then they're done with their turn.
And I think that having if Death and Taxes can land this card fast enough. With natural tools at low cost, like Zero's Magic Light, I think that becomes even more insane, right? And even more safe. Because your opponent can, like, play a new creature, and you're like, okay, well, you've used your one card for the turn. Zero's Magic Light. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that kind of thing. Those cards just become better. Or Otherworld Dreams, like I've landed Forbidden Isle, or Floating Isle. Otherworld Dreams. 1-drop, cancel anything. You know, it's just, I don't know, I just like it.
Oh, yeah.
But outside of that, my other kind of 2 cards that I talked about, Ra the Golden Bird. And the reason why I like this is I wish it had like an inheritance mode, but it doesn't, which is fine. I like the fact that this is lightning rodding for Death and Taxes, because you want to keep those creatures alive, and if you can't like commit to, say, a Zero's Magic Light or something like that, or you're playing a really heavy color deck, or they're playing creatures or whatever, then I think Ra is a really good alternative, mainly because he cantrips, draws you a card, and then has a body. And then again, it has an activate ability, so like you can just kind of beat Death and Taxes and be like, well, on my turn, I'm going to leave up all of my will, and then say go, and then if you try to do anything, just redirect everything to Ra, and draw a bunch of cards and say, haha, I have card advantage and you don't. So I really like Ra for that, just as a utility card. And then the last card I picked was Sealing the Gate of Darkness. It's definitely a sideboard card because you have to be playing against a dark deck. But gosh, is this card good. Like, it's Savior of Splendor reprinted, and I loved Savior of Splendor, so I like it.
Yeah, no, that's...
1-drop RFG, a black guy. Like a black resonator. Like, gone.
Would you mainly sideboard that, or
yeah, I think so. I think there's enough decks out there right now that aren't Darkness that I wouldn't sideboard it. But like, I think of like sideboarding this against Dark Tree, where I can be more proactive against them, where they're like, okay, well, I'm going to try to make a Rezard at the end of your turn. Oh, cool. Well, now that you've done that, RFG it. Like, you know what I mean?
Or if
Fox tries to do something.
Fox tries to get back into the game.
Yeah, so then you don't have to like rely on Zero's Magic Light to they don't have to be like, they can play around the attack or block elements of Zero's Magic Light, whereas Sealing just goes nope, and it's over.
Yep.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I really like Ra also as a card. I think it's a great card, but if nothing else, as like one of my favorite like artwork from this whole set. I really like the artwork on it.
It's good stuff.
So Zero
Pandas.
Yes, I like Pandas. Hey. If you guys haven't seen my Panda deck, at least for now, probably with the new set with Tigris's unsealed ability, I'll probably switch to him. But right now I use Zero as my main ruler in my Panda deck because I think it's a extremely underused card in my opinion, because it has a whole bunch of utility inside of it. It has a passive buff on its one side. It deactivates for 2 and shuts down your entire opponent's field, and there's no J-Ruler hate right now, or excessive hate, especially with Black Moon being gone. So just having her just on the field is just great to have, I think, and a lot of versatility with it. But my main card to have in her deck is, well, 2 things technically. The first one, you guys both mentioned it, but you didn't put it as your card, so this still counts. Is Zero's Magic Light.
We need random cards, not obvious cards, Colin. Come on.
Here's the thing: with Zero's Magic Light is, I put it in every single light deck I do, regardless if it has 0 or anything in it, because for 2 cost, it's good. It was basically like almost, in my opinion, a better version of like a black card of like Stoning to Death or something like that, because it removed it from the game, which is really good for card effects and stuff like that that might have something when it hits there. And so her having it for 1 cost, just running 4, I always run 4 of them in the deck with her because it's such a great card. And there's very few situations where it will ever not come in handy type of thing. So, but the second card is for my deck specifically. So, like I said, with pandas and stuff like that. And what's really good to have in a deck that's any color really, but yellow especially, is draw power and stuff like that. So I put in Discovery because Discovery is a 1 cost. It's allows you to draw a card. It's quick cast, right? Yeah, it's quick cast. So you can
quick cast. Yep.
So for example, if either you or your opponent play that field card where you can only play 1 card per turn, you now have the option to play it on your opponent's turn, so it doesn't take up your turn just trying to draw a card. And so on top of that, you get to gain a gem of any attribute. So if you're running, even if you're not running a full panda deck, just a deck that maybe is another type of resonator that also uses gems, which is where it looks like Forza was kind of going with having a golem that interacts with gems. It looks like we might start seeing some crossplay with other types of cards, so you're not required to run pandas to run gems.
Golems that come out with weird elemental guys.
Yeah, and like you can, and there's already quite a few chants that work off of gems that have nothing to do with pandas. So you can have it. Looks like they're moving towards gems are associated with pandas, but they're not reliant on pandas. So having Discovery in there for any type of zero deck that uses gems obviously is required. But like I think it's a good card overall because 1 cost, quick cast, gain a gem is just a whole lot of greatness.
The issue is that once Rainbow Shimmer is actually a thing, I would instantly put Rainbow Shimmer in over this.
No, if you're playing so that's dependent, I think, on which direction you take the panda route, right? Because I think as we're seeing it right now, there's the gem hoarding pandas, which is where you go for like a bajillion light gems and a wind gem, Shin. Like, that's the goal. Like, you need 1 wind gem and you need a bajillion light gems, right? And then, or there's the utility the gem where you're just like, I just need 1 of each to like turn on my guys. So I think like the hoarding one is one where Shimmer is definitely better. Because then you're like, I'm going to look at the top 28 cards of my deck, and then I'm going to pick a card, and then I'm going to shuffle my deck, and we're good. So you can, like, find your Shin. But, like, the utility one, I think Discovery is the better one, because then it's the draw power to get you into, like, the tool that you need, while also getting you the one of that gem attribute that you're like, okay, now I can do what I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think gaining the gem is really important. Like, I would still run Discovery if it just was a 1 cost quick cast, gain a gem of any attribute. I think that's extremely strong in a gem panda deck, especially the ones I'm running. And the draw a card is just great on top of that. So I don't think it cancels out Rainbow Shimmer. I think it's on its own outside of Rainbow Shimmer, in my opinion. But you could definitely, like Jeremy's saying, you could run one or the other depending on the type of deck you're using. Especially if it's, like, say, a Tiger's deck and you only run Panda Resonators. So you're passively gaining a crap ton of gems anyways on top of gems that those pandas might give you on top of that and all that. So you don't need more. So it's just it's taking up space in your deck at that point. But, yeah, I think they're 2 separate types of cards at the end of the day.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think we're approaching the end mark here.
Yeah. Today, so let's see, this comes out, it'll be Tuesday when people are watching this today, right?
Correct, Tuesday.
Okay. Did TcgScrubs, did you guys get VIP status?
VIP.
Did you guys get VIP status on the Willpower Rewards?
Oh, yeah, we have 2 of them coming in.
You did? Oh, you got 2?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll at least, like, at least attempt to film myself running over to the mailbox and grabbing them and all that stuff. Yeah, we got it.
Hopefully all of you watching have gotten your Willpower Rewards stuff, because the night we're recording this, everyone got the emails saying they'd all been shipped out. So they're expected to arrive on Tuesday, which is today.
That'll be pretty awesome. I'm
pretty
excited.
What are all the Willpower Rewards? I haven't really.
So
oh yeah, Joey wasn't part of
Uber. I got it. So Uber, Uber Mikage, Uber Feasting, Uber Millium, Uber Lunya, Uber Mercurius.
That's the good
one. Uber Green Dragon, Uber Red Dragon, Uber Light Dragon, Uber Fire Dragon, Uber Darkness Dragon, and then Comic Book Light Book and Comic Book Dark Book are the 12 that you get varying amounts of based on your status. And then if you were top 500, you get the Uber Gil Alhamat with your special stamp and your individual numbering.
Yep.
Which we
no zero Uber.
No zero Uber. Rip. Rip
yeah,
zero.
No, we'll never get a full art zero Uber.
No full art zeros. Sorry, man. Well, unless you count the King's Blade or the whatever, the 2-drop. That's technically a full art zero. Yeah. Technically a full art zero. Also, Rhea, I guess. I don't know if we're going by the fact that people think that Zero is Rhea Reborn.
That's true. Yes.
Do you prescribe to that theory?
There was something going on in the chapter of the story where Lilius Petal finally shows up. Mind you, he shows up for like 10 seconds and then shows up for like 5 seconds in the next chapter, and then he's gone forever. And I was like, okay.
Doesn't Sylvia do that?
Sylvia shows up. Yes, Sylvia gets summoned by Gil again as by Dark Yggdrasil or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she shows up like a spirit from the Ataraxia Regalia. He like summons her from that or something. Wait, no, what is it? From the stone that he takes from Alhamat. He like uses that and summons her. But anyway, so Lilius Petal says some weird stuff about Zero and like the way she gets kind of affected by his magic, and also the fact of like Zero's magic itself is really weird, and like nobody really understands it. But then Mikage like interacting with her is like, wait a minute, have we met before? Like, there's something about you that seems kind of weird. And Zero's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. So, plus there's the owl. The owl.
Yeah,
I just think that there's, I think, and also, at least right now, the link to the Crimson Moon with Rhea, I think, is also maybe part of it. Like, I don't know, there's something there.
Right.
We'll find out. It's gonna blow my mind. I'm gonna love it.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I think that at least Rhea and Zero are somehow connected, though how exactly that is, who knows?
Right. I mean, because like all this stuff going on now is like a prequel thing,
1,000
right?
plus, like 2,000 years in the past.
Is it like an alternate reality thing, or is it just a prequel thing? Because I loosely follow the lore, like very loosely.
So Jordan told us that it was an alternate timeline.
Okay.
But Jordan was known to not tell entire truths.
Okay.
And we know that the next set is called the Time Chain,
the Time
Witch. So like that's the other prevailing like we know that Mikage like travels around dimensions all the time, right? So like because of the way he like pops into the story. And we also know that Lilius Petal does that too, because Lilius Petal's crazy. So like part of the thing might be that like Rhea through the time altering mage maybe gets transported to like becomes Zero and then sent forward in time. Like maybe there's that. Like I don't know, man. Aliens.
Right. On that note, well, as thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you for putting up for my crazy crackpot theories.
Oh yeah, no, anytime if you want to come on and share your theories. If you guys want to check them out, obviously, like I say, priority. No, but youtube.com, DM073, and you have your patreon.com/DM073, right?
Correct. And they can, if you join in that, we have a private Discord server just for patrons, where we do monthly giveaways and monthly tournaments. and we're still trying to work out the kinks with monthly one-on-one game nights. But free giveaways every month, free tournaments every month with nice prizes. Let's see, the past 3 tournaments we've given away judge feed things, right?
Joey got one of those, yeah.
Joey got one of those, right?
I'm showing the camera now. It's very cute. And then the tournaments are a ton of fun.
Yeah, and with more, and I try to switch up the tournament so that it's not just like super meta. So I like to usually throw in a couple like special rules or something like that. I think the next tournament for December, I think I'm gonna make an IU grand battle where you have to use IU. So everybody has to play a singleton deck, and then we'll see what happens. But it's fun. It's free. There's no time constraints. So like once the tournament starts, you could just play at your own pace. And I try to make it fun. And then with higher level perks, obviously there gets like more direct like influence on the channel and other stuff. And with higher amounts of total money raised, I give away even more stuff. So
awesome. And cool. So that was pretty good.
Thanks, guys.
Without Oscar. I think it went pretty well. A lot more smooth.
Savage.
No, thanks for coming on. We'll hopefully be talking with you again soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Thanks, man.